Hey, you know, at our ministry and our podcast and the book that we've just published, we love to talk about the power of God to magnify and glorify the majestic power that we read, Genesis to Revelation, connects with God. So as we do that, He is releasing His love, which is an important part of His power. So He displays His love for us in the demonstration of His power. And we see it, especially now, in the release just this month of the movie Sound of Freedom. The July 4th, 2023 release, I believe, is owned by God. It belongs to Him. A previously unknown and unexpected phenomenon really is playing out right in front of our eyes. And what I mean by that, the movie and its wake-up call concerning the plight of children being sold into slavery of all kinds worldwide, that connection is causing millions of people to basically have a wake-up call. This is the phenomenon that I'm referring to, completely unexpected. Even the makers of the movie, those participating and associated with it, had no idea that this movie would explode onto the scene the way that it has. So now, even now, days after the release of the movie, the audiences, the number of audiences and showings is beginning to increase exponentially. So we're looking today, as we're talking right here, right now, we're looking today at this phenomenon and what is really taking place. And I believe that one of the reasons for the outcry is that, generally speaking, it can be said, and here's my thought, that a mother is only okay as her least okay child. A mother is only okay as her least okay child is okay. So think of the mothers whose children have been snatched, or even instances where the mother is complicit, maybe in the enslavement. As an example, that would be like maybe being partner to selling a child into slavery. That happens in many parts of the world. But no matter what, a mother does not forget her child. And God's power, like a searchlight, continually searches for her, for the mother of the child. So some background here. A passage in the book of Job describes the maternal habits of the ostrich, the bird, the ostrich. Appearance-wise, and especially gifted in speed, this creature is really magnificent. But lacking even basic protective instincts, the ostrich does not care for or protect her young. The word says that she is harsh toward them and demonstrably does not even care if they die. She's distracted from that. In the passage, God is speaking to Job and includes right here an explanation of this unusual maternal behavior. And it is unusual, even for the animal kingdom. God explains it this way to Job. I, meaning God, have deprived her or made her forget wisdom and have given her no understanding. So God is explaining how this happens, that the maternal instincts are absent in the ostrich, that she's lacking wisdom, she's lacking understanding. And we know that even for some human mothers, they may appear callous, but I've learned, generally speaking and overall, don't believe that. Just don't believe that. God's design for the mother is for His wisdom and His understanding to flow into her to create this instinctive role. Job 38:36, He gives intuition to the heart and instinct to the mind. So a mother reaches for her child, for her children, no matter what, because of this endowment, this instinct, intuition to the heart and instinct in the mind. That is the norm, and that's the point that I'm making. Anything less is an aberration. It's just not consistent with normal maternal instincts. So what's happening here? And we ask, where is God in this? Well, he, of course, is the divine source and the designer of the mother's role, of her heart, literally. On her behalf, he holds on with her, no matter what. And this is his involvement right now in what we're seeing played out. It's the reason for the discovery and rescue of enslaved and trafficked children being a supernatural phenomenon carried out by men and women who lay down their lives to do this mission. We know it is because God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating miracles, literally divine interventions. Those men and women involved in this mission to rescue these children, they'll tell you that God intervenes. It is his supernatural working behind the scene that is the explanation for the success stories that we are hearing. And why such danger for anyone involved in these rescue missions? For one thing, darkness, and especially deep darkness, exist under demonic control. Demonic control. This is the strong man's house that we read about in Luke 11:21. To enter that territory where demonic power is entrenched, Jesus said, you must, first of all, bind the strong man's power. This binding is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual reality accomplished in prayer and only with God on the side of those going in to extract these victims. This is the real thing. This is spiritual warfare on its highest level, as intense as it gets. So if you've ever wondered, is spiritual warfare real? The answer is yes. We're seeing it play out on our screens as we attend this movie and hear the story that's being told. Factually, and this is important, God's work is ongoing all the time to open the way, literally where there's not a way, where it's impossible. You know, we say that's impossible, that couldn't happen. God opens those ways to rescue and bring those children home. Also, another thing about this evidence of God's hand moving behind the scenes is that many voices across the ideological spectrum are now speaking up in support of the movie, its mission and its message, encouraging everyone to see the movie. That's why there's such an outpouring and why the audience is growing the way that it is. It doesn't happen very often this way, but it is happening right now in our history. Without divine influence, we wouldn't see this kind of response. We would be seeing something like what we've seen in the past, really, you know, sort of like a yawn. We know that because for years, that's really been the case. Why suddenly is this movie bringing undeniable attention to the children suffering cruelly this way? And, you know, the point is very obvious to me. God will use whoever is willing, any volunteer, any heart that can expand to take in God's big picture. And so just bottom line here, I see two things. We're talking about the mother's heart being involved in what God is doing behind the scenes, and that it is her heart appealing to him on a major level, in a major way, as well as his design, his divine plan, and all that is in his heart to accomplish. So she and he together are so vital in the background here. I mean, no matter what you think, don't underestimate the heart and the prayers of the mother. So, first of all, it's important to realize that as dark as things seem and look, not only do we expect the light to shine in the darkness, but we also expect and hope in the mother's capacity to hope, a result of God-given wisdom to every mother. This hope carries light. While refusing to be comforted, she is receiving light from Almighty God. That's why we should champion the mother's love until every child and every grand or great-grandchild is present at the table, back with the family where they belong, back home with their family. You and I, we can testify because we're witnesses to the power of this truth. The mother's heart, magnified a gazillion times, can sort of maybe begin to estimate the vastness of God's involvement that is involved in resolving this plight of these children. God's heart is the source of the mother's heart, and the mother's heart appeals, as we all do, bringing about this supernatural outcome. And my second point here, right now, wherever you are, and whatever your situation, if you are a mother or a parent and your child has been snatched on any level, estranged or removed physically or spiritually stolen away from your presence, or even demonically seduced into darkness of any kind, whether that be drugs or estrangement of any kind, whatever, God's promise to you to restore is a power sound playing in the background, and that sound, like the movie title, Sound of Freedom, leapfrogs over any hope deferred to the necessary power, the power play that is connecting you to wisdom and understanding that is God. God is not only God, He is your Father, and He is almighty. And I love what Ezekiel saw in his vision of the Lord. This is Ezekiel 8:2. Basically, he saw God, the image of Him, on fire from His loins up and on fire from His loins down. This element of God's character and nature, fire, goes like this. Here's the verse. Then I beheld, and lo, a likeness as the appearance of fire. From the appearance of His loins even downward, fire. And from His loins even upward, as the appearance of brightness. This is our God. This is our Father. He is almighty. He is working behind the scenes always to deliver you, deliver your family, and to deliver an entire global reach out of darkness into light.